who do you want the Browns to play? There are multiple ways in which this could fold out. For me personally, I have put it on Twitter. It kind of went nuts, the tweet. I think the best alignment for the Cleveland Browns is Cleveland 5, which we know we're going to have that. We got that locked out, right? Cleveland 5, Jacksonville 4, right? Because I understand we feel like we could beat anybody, but why not play Jacksonville? Like, let's just do that. We earned it. Jacksonville at 4. Texans would be the 6th seed if the Bills don't win or some shit like that. And then the Bills at the 7th seed. Now, here's what you really want as a Cleveland Browns fan. You want the Bills to have the lowest seed possible. The reason you want the Bills to have the lowest seed possible, well, not the lowest seed possible. You just want them to be below you, which is guaranteed, and make the playoffs. Because the Bills are going to beat somebody. They're either going to beat the Dolphins or they're going to beat the Chiefs. Now, if the Texans get in, I also feel like the Texans might beat somebody. And if both of them win and the Cleveland Browns win, the Cleveland Browns effectively become the 2 seed. Because I haven't seen a year where the division winners seem more ripe for an upset to this. You watch Miami, and look, I think Miami will take care of business at home versus Buffalo because they're just not going to get swept. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. And it looks like they're going to have to play each other 3 times. But I don't know if Buffalo gets to sweep Miami. So I think Miami might win that one. But then if they play in the playoffs, I 100% think the Buffalo Bills are going to win that game. Like, they feel like they could win 2 out of 3 against Miami.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, sure. No, lie to me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The Bills are about to sweep them. Like, they're gonna win. They're gonna win this weekend. They're 100% gonna win this weekend. First of all, Bradley Chubb's out for the season.
Look, Cove, here's where I will hit pause on that take. We are rolling with the Bills right now because we feel like the Bills are hot and the Miami Dolphins are not. I'm sorry. I watched some of that Bills-Patriots game, and them motherfuckers ain't playing as good as people think. Like, no. I was watching Zeke Elliott went off on the Bills, and I'm like, you know what?
They were not playing well. They were
not. I was saying, these are 2 teams that could easily lose to each other. Like, people were so mad at me when I was like, are you assuming that the Bills aren't going to win against the Dolphins? Like, the Bills have been playing good. I'm like, hey, dog, you weren't watching that Patriots game, but let me tell you something. The Zap man gave them a scare, okay? He gave them a real scare. And
hey, respect the Zap man.
Saying, hey,
respect the Zap man.
If the Zap man gives you a scare, guess what? You can lose to the Dolphins. All right? Like the Dolphins have beaten good teams. They have beaten good teams that unfortunately we view as frauds, like the Cowboys, but I think it's time for us to let that one go. I was watching the Philadelphia Eagles, Cole, and I was like, that's who we thought the Cowboys were. Ain't the Eagles doing some real Cowboy stuff, including losing to the Cardinals?
I'm going to be real with you. Like, I feel like the entire NFC is frauds for real. I feel like all them teams are a bunch of frauds, dog. I don't believe in any of them. The 49ers are the least fraudish. They are the least fraudish.
It's kind of like a college football argument how I feel about like the NFC, because you know how back in the day, Big Ten fans used to be like, man, the Pac-12 team's soft. You get in their chest, they fold. And I feel the exact same way about the NFC right now.
What team in the NFC do you believe in? Do you believe in any of these teams outside of the 49ers? Do you believe in any of them?
I kind of don't believe in the 49ers. I'm like, the Eagles just clearly have not gotten their shit together. And I think it's at the point to where they're just not going to do it. They have played close games every week this season against teams where it makes no sense for them to play. They have lost to the Jets and the Cardinals this year. That don't sound like a team to take care of business to me. I'm like, nah, I can't. I'm no longer in on the Eagles. I was an Eagles over the 49ers guy. This weekend, I was like, you know what? They are who we thought the Cowboys were. Now, to be fair, I understand that the helmet says Cowboys. So we don't take them seriously because the last few years, not the last few years, the last significant portion of our life, we have been conditioned to making sure we don't take the Cowboys seriously. But if you look around, they're the one team where you're like, well, they got all the shit they need. Like Dak's better than Brock.
Yeah.
They have good wide receivers. They have a really good defense. Like, you look at the Cowboys, and if it weren't for the fact that they are the Cowboys, and again, they have been super unserious in the playoffs for our entire lives almost, we would be taking them a lot more serious. Like, you notice how this conversation, we kind of forgot the Cowboys fucking existed. Like, we were ready to talk about the Bears. We were ready to talk about the Lions. We were ready to talk about the Eagles. We didn't bring up the Cowboys. The Cowboys are probably the most serious team. But they have been so unserious. I don't even know if I feel that way.
I don't even know if I feel that way for real. Because to be honest with you, they should have lost to the Lions this week. They absolutely should have lost to the Lions. But you know,
we'll get to that.
Well, some favorable things went their way this week. You know, we'll get into that. But I don't trust any of those teams. And I've seen the 49ers whoop all of these teams. We've seen them whoop
and
all
then
of these
you see
teams.
the 49ers play like an AFC team and
they get rocked. They get rocked.
So it's like, how can you take them seriously? Like that, like people were like trying to get me to take the 40, like trying to get me back on this 49ers train based on what they did against the Commanders. And I'm like, first of all, game was a little bit of a struggle the first half. Second of all, you beat the Commanders. And Jacoby Brissett didn't play. I don't care. Like, you didn't even beat the best version of the Commanders. Sam Howell had like 3 interceptions in that game. I'm like, all right.
Man, we see what the AFC North has done to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not afraid of that team. Not afraid of that team at all.
Yeah, I would say it would go. I would say I would be more. It's weird. I don't think the Eagles will make it through. But if the Eagles do figure out a way to get to the Super Bowl, they're clearly the team you would probably fear the most because if they got their shit together, they're a really, really good team.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys, to me, are right up there with the 49ers. And I guess I take the Cowboys more seriously because I'm like, at the end of the day, see, look, Dak's better than Brock, but Dak's also like had the book out on him so long that like he's also another one that's hard to take seriously. It's like, what would you do if the 49ers had Kirk Cousins? Like, is Kirk Cousins better than Brock Purdy? You can certainly make the argument. But absolutely. Do you take Kirk Cousins as seriously as you take Brock Purdy? And I don't think the answer is yes. In the playoffs.
I would take the 49ers
in the playoffs.
Infinitely more serious if they had Kirk Cousins.
See, I'm the opposite. I wouldn't. I can't. I'm like, okay, they're going to lose in the first round. Like, they're a better team in every way. They are a better offense in every way. Kirk gonna fuck this up. Like, I have no faith in Kirk Cousins. I have absolutely no faith in Kirk Cousins. And the way I feel about Kirk Cousins is not dissimilar to the lack of faith. Dak is a much, much better quarterback than Brock Purdy. Like, no doubt.
No doubt in my mind.
Do I trust Dak? Hell no. I don't trust Dak. I don't trust Dak. I don't trust them uniforms. I don't trust nothing about Dallas. But they probably should be up there.
I'm gonna be real with you. You said they have good receivers, and they have a good receiver. They have a good receiver.
They have good receiver. Nah, Brandon Cooks ain't terrible.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, they got Brandon Cooks. Yeah, they got one of them tight ends out there. You know,
it's not what Philly got. It's not what Philly got. It's not what the 49ers got.
Absolutely not.
I don't even know if it's what the Lions got, to be real with you.
Who they got outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown? What?
I feel like they got a. Don't they got a really
okay,
good
Cole, you got to drop this argument, dog.
I might have been being slanderous. I
got a question.
I just don't.
Too.
Yeah.
Let's say if the Browns do end up making it to the Super Bowl, Out of all the NFC teams that have a realistic shot at making the Super Bowl, who would you want the Browns to play?
Oh, Jared Goff.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. You get in his face. We and they
Lions.
just as unlucky as us. So we don't have to worry about like no kind of luck factor. Right? Like these are the things you got to consider in a playoff run. Like you got to play the franchise there. This is why I want the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not because they're the worst team that can make it there to the 4th seed, but they just as unlucky as us. Like they just as unlucky as us, if not more. Okay. And I would want the Chargers too, right? I want the Jaguars. And look, I'm kind of iffy about Kansas City because we are a better team than Kansas City, 100%. But Kansas City do be getting lucky, boy. They be getting lucky.
Yeah.
They be
Some
getting
bullshit,
so lucky.
some bullshit gonna happen if we play the Chiefs. I can already see some bullshit gonna happen.
They be getting lucky. But you know who don't be getting lucky sometimes? Who's a much, much, much better team? The Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs, dog. Like with Lamar Jackson, they don't be having that luck. It'd be like, yo, this is the day that Derrick Henry decides to throw Earl Thomas out the NFL. That happened. That happened.
I forgot about
like,
that.
Stiff-armed Earl Thomas. We never heard from a future Hall of Famer again after that.
That's not true. That's not true.
He did not come back. Oh yeah, we heard from him. We on the field, in the building. We ain't hear from Earl Thomas. All right, we ain't here for Earl Thomas. Derrick Henry did that.
We'll leave it alone.
Yes.
We'll leave it alone.
Ryan, they won 14 games out of 16, and I believe, Cole, 14 of them were in a row. The Ravens did in 2019, and they lost to Ryan fucking Tannehill.
The playoffs is a different beast. It's a different beast.
Hey, man, I'm going to just chalk that up to Greg Roman because there's nothing about this Baltimore team I watch and I go, I want to play that. Like, there's nothing. But there's something in the back of your mind that's like, man, I feel like they just unlucky. Meanwhile, we gotta go up and beat a team that eliminates Pat Mahomes. Like, I understand it's a much easier task on paper, but that's Pat. That's Pat, dog. I bet the Toronto Raptors thought they was about to really clean up LeBron in 2018. Like, this is my warning out for teams with the Chiefs, man. Like, I'm so dead serious about this. LeBron in 2018 could happen. Okay, like that could be a LeBron in it don't look like it's about to happen, but guess what, man? We were in Cleveland when it happened. Did we think 2018 was going to happen?
Nope. No
Greg, did you think 2018 was going to happen?
Absolutely not.
No, we were thinking we were going to lose to the Pacers in the first fucking round. We thought that was going to happen
in the first round.
We thought we was about to lose to Victor Oladipo. We was out there with Rodney Hood as our second best scorer. And then he got hurt.
Oh, man.
Yes,
let's not revisit
Jordan Clarkson. Yes,
let's not revisit
this is what I say. We doing all this talk about Pat. All this talk about what Pat don't got. Then we gonna find out. Pat gonna make it work, dog. Like Pat gonna make it work. We gonna get 2018 bronze. Like, do not take the Chiefs lightly. I understand we have every reason to take them lightly, but I think Pat Mahomes is that good to where you could get a 2018 bronze thing from Pat Mahomes. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, dog. Hey, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen far too many times. I remember people were doing this before the AFC Championship game last year. Oh, Pat's on an ankle. He's hurt. Look at how good the Bengals look versus the Buffalo Bills. They absolutely dismantled them, Quincy. How could you think that the Kansas City Chiefs with Juju Smith-Schuster could compete and Pat beat them motherfuckers? I'm just saying, dog. Like,
hey, different staffs, though. Different staffs.
Nah, I'm just
different
saying.
Staffs.
Hey, man, Eric Bieniemy, yeah. We were talking about how we need to look, man. I'm Cole. is Pat Mahomes. I feel like
it's also
we
Matt
out
Nagy,
here.
though.
Like I've seen people in my comment section be like, "We want the Chiefs." I'm like, "Hey, dog, that's still Pat. I would rather play the Dolphins, right? I would rather play the Dolphins." Like, I don't know about you. I would rather play. Because you know what I know?
I don't want to play the Dolphins. I don't want to play the Dolphins. I don't.
No,
I don't
no, we're going to get to that pass rush. They don't have no edge rushers left. Joe going to be able to sit there cool in that Miami weather. You know he old. He need the heat. We going to be fine. An old man in Florida, Cole? You not about to bet on an old man in Florida? Yeah, get on the program, Cole. Come on. Old man in Florida about to get that business done, right?
This is what I'm going to say.
I'd rather play the Bills. I'd rather play the Dolphins. But the Chiefs, I'm just like, hey, man, let's not forget they got the best quarterback in the league. It does matter. It might not matter when they play the Raiders.
When we play, when you look at the Chiefs, I told you weeks ago. This is not the same Chiefs team you remember. It's really not. It's really not the same Chiefs team.
Cole, I agree with you. It's not the same Chiefs team I remember. It's not. But you know who is the same? Pat Mahomes. And playoff Pat, different. It's different. I would not voluntarily.
Are those receivers going to be different in the playoffs? It's the question.
It might not matter. You heard what Pat been saying. You heard what Pat been saying. I just need to get it to them more perfectly. Hey, dog. I've seen it before. We literally watched this last year. All I'm saying is, hey, man, I would not want to go out my way to play the best quarterback in the last 20 years. Well, the most talented quarterback we've seen in the last 20 years. Arguably, some are making the point that he's one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. I feel like we should avoid that. Let the Bills do that. You know what I mean? Let CJ Stroud get a crack at that before we start making these definitive assumptions. Because I don't know, dog. It's still Pat. It's still Pat. Hey,
if we gotta play him, we gotta play him. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the Chiefs.
Dog, we lost to Pat, and Pat did it. Cole, we lost to Pat one time in the playoffs, and Pat didn't even play for a whole quarter.
Hey, that was that year. It's not this year. That was that year. It's a whole different defense.
I don't know why people are so willing to go up here and play
different defense. Q, come on now. It's a whole different defense, dog. It's a whole different defense we got.
Nah, come on, man. I know it's a different team.
Who's the safety we had
better
that
since
year?
that game, dog. I'm not voluntarily putting the Browns in the path of Pat.
Who was the safety we had that year? Everybody made fun of. Everybody was making fun of.
Y'all was mean about Andrew Sandejo, by the way. Y'all was mean about him. What was Andrew Sandejo supposed to do? What was he supposed to do back there?
Who else we have back? Hey man, our secondary is way better than it was that year. Yeah,
it is. TJ Mitchell or TJ Carey was our second quarter that year. So yeah, it was better. Speaking of better.
To put a bow on this, I just want to know, Quincy, would you rather play the Ravens or the Chiefs if you had to pick one in the playoffs?
What round?
The Chiefs.
I guess second round would be the most likely, right?
Yeah, I'll take my chances against the Chiefs because look, man.
Chiefs.
I'm waiting to play the Ravens. I'll wait. Because look, everything I said about Pat kind of goes for Lamar right now. like he's been playing that good. So I guess I would go with that. Like, I'm just like, hey, man, if you got a chance to play Tua or Pat, I'm playing Tua. I am 100. I could pressure Tua and get him out of his game. Pat they are a very fortunate franchise, and they have the most fortunate quarterback of all time. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm good. I don't want to become the Toronto Raptors, the Pat Mahomes legacy. I'm not doing that, dog. I'm good. Let somebody else handle that. If the Chiefs are truly frauds, somebody else will take care of that before it gets to Cleveland. But I done seen this bullshit before. They try to fool us into thinking that Pat's not good anymore, the Chiefs aren't good, and we ain't got to worry about them. Nah, we did this with the Patriots for how many years, Cole? Oh, this is going to be the year the Patriots get eliminated in the first round. Okay, they got to play a playoff game. They're not going to get to the AFC Championship again.
That's different.
He went to 11 in a row. Okay, nah. The best quarterback in the league, you never, ever want to play the best quarterback in the league. Like, if somebody's in that conversation, you don't want to play Lamar, you don't want to play Pat. You never want that to happen because Joe Burrow was just top 5 quarterback. Got the sorry ass Bengals 2 AFC championship games back to back, dog. I like Joe Flacco.
We just got a super chat in regards to this topic from RayRags14. Q, name me a receiver who's even on par with Juju on the Chiefs right now. Pat has been getting sold all year. What makes you think the receivers will just learn to not drop the ball in the playoffs?
Because it's Pat Mahomes. That's what makes me think this, Ray Rags. Like, this has nothing to do with being logical or analytical. I'm not being an analyst right now. I'm just telling you what I feel. It's Pat Mahomes. And this shit just works out. This shit works out. You can't
ignore this, dog. You can't keep ignoring this.
I'm not ignoring it. I promise you. But guess what? I saw Sky Moore catching passes last year. I saw Sky Moore make a play. Kadarius I don't care. Tony was out here making plays like, nah, dog.
That was last year, dog. That was last year.
It was last year when it mattered the most. And I'm just saying, we can't judge the Chiefs on what they do in the regular season because they have Pat Mahomes and shit just goes different for them in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Y'all want to run into that Chiefs train? Y'all go ahead and do it. I would gladly play the Miami Dolphins in the second round. All right.
Those are receivers I'm terrified of. I'm terrified of those receivers.
I would rather be Cole. I would rather be making this about the wide receivers. I don't care. I would rather be terrified of your wide receivers. I don't give about the Bengals. Okay, like I would rather be terrified of your wide receivers. You know who I don't want to be terrified of? Your quarterback. Hey, ex-Texas. Okay, we just watched this game last night. You know what Texas was like? Damn, I wish Michael Phoenix wasn't the quarterback. Like, anything but Michael Phoenix. They got good wide receivers there and everything,
I'm about to say, be fair. They got like 3 different wide receivers who gonna get drafted high.
Yeah, they do. But you know what?
Matters.
Hey, you know what? Texas was like, dog, we gotta get Michael Penix out of there. All right. They weren't like, we got to get these wide receivers out. No, Michael Penix, because that's who they couldn't handle. And that's what I'm saying with Pat. Hey, play with that if you want to. That's still Pat Mahomes. And if you wouldn't play with Brady like this, I don't know why people are willing to play with Pat. But hey, dog, I'm not about to do it. I'm good. I'm not about to be out here hoping to play Pat. No, fuck out of my face. I'm good on that. Like, nah, and you call me scared, you call me terrified, call me what you want. I call it smart because y'all got all wrapped up in the regular season that y'all think that shit gonna be sweet with Pat Mahomes. I don't care how you try to explain this. That shit ain't about to be sweet. What?
Hey man, all I'm saying is this: our corners versus their wide receivers. I love it.
Cole, every matchup makes sense until you get to quarterback. And I feel like that's the most important one. We cannot sit here and be like, hey man, I love this matchup. Who's playing quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs? Because if it's 15, then dog, I'd rather play the Dolphins. I've seen this story before. And look, the person, Ray Rags, I know you sent that super chat. I know I'm alone on this island for now. I was alone on this island last year in the playoffs where I was like, hey, dog, it's still Pat.
Year. I wasn't here last year.
Yeah, now just sub Juju Smith-Schuster for MVS and watch MVS start making catches miraculously. And then you go tweet, I can't believe this making catches now against the Browns. Like, of course you want to make catches now. Like, we act like we don't know how the script writers play with Pat Mahomes.